As we've been reporting, the Biden administration has extended the federal pause on student loan payments for another few months in response to the pandemic. Before the president's fourth freeze on student loans, dozens of lawmakers called on him to cancel student debt, saying it would provide long-term benefits to individuals and to the economy. According to StudentLoanHero.com, about 46 million Americans are in debt because of their education. That's more than $1.7 trillion in total U.S. student loan debt. And today we are discussing the pros and cons of eliminating the debt altogether. So I want to bring in now our panel. Joining us is Braxton Brewington. He is the press secretary for the Debt Collective, and also Marc Goldwein, senior vice president and senior director of policy at the Committee for a Responsible Budget. Thank you both for being here. So Marc, I'd like to start with you. No other developed country really charges so much for higher education. This is the second highest household debt after mortgages, and the cost of college has risen so much faster than wages have. Isn't there something wrong with this system?
There's something wrong with higher ed financing and tuition. The solution isn't to cancel everyone's debt. Over half of debt is owned by graduate students, largely doctors and lawyers. They have the biggest balances. Canceling debt, yes, benefits a lot of people a little bit, but it mostly benefits the very rich. And by the way, it would worsen the deficit, worsen inflation, and extend the time of us getting sort of back to normal.
So Braxton, I want to revisit that point in a minute, but what happened to paying back the money you borrow and keeping your word? If you agree to take out a loan, you agree to pay that money back.
Well, we should ask the 1% and folks with PPP loans, right? There's actually a lot of precedent for broadly canceling a type of debt. We do it for corporations all the time. When there seems to be an issue is when we are trying to give the same opportunity to working class Americans, Black and brown Americans, those who are really suffering with the financial burdens of student debt.
Okay, Marc, back to you. What about this argument about generational wealth, right? White students typically have more help paying off their loans from their family. They have more opportunity in the workforce.
So again, this comes back to kind of the structural racism, the problem with tuitions. White Americans own about 8 times as much debt as Black Americans. And when you consider existing income-driven repayment programs, they'd actually benefit even more disproportionately from cancellation. So the idea that this would reduce the racial wealth gap, it just doesn't bear out in the data.
Braxton, how do you respond?
So disproportionately, the folks that are suffering with student debt are actually folks like myself, Black Americans, Black women in particular, who disproportionately went to HBCUs or minority serving institutions. And because we've been stripped of generational wealth, Black and Hispanic Americans, we don't have that grandmother or that parent that we can call on to sort of be able to pay for our college up front. And so that's why student debt in particular is burdening Black, brown Americans, those who are not wealthy or white enough to be able to pay for college up front.
Okay, so Braxton, where should this money come from, right? You have to pay professors, you have to keep the lights on. It costs money to run an educational system, and it would be wonderful if everything was free, but the money has to come from somewhere. Inflation's already a huge problem. Where's it going to come from?
Well, the good news is that the money has already gone out the door, right? Canceling student debt doesn't cost money. We're not spending anything. The money was already lended by the federal government. That's why the loan is what the loan is. We could also turn these loans into grants, right? And tell these people that you don't have to pay this money back. But if people want to really hem and haw about where some type of money is coming from, that's why we say tax the rich, right? We have money for endless wars, but when it comes down to funding education, funding free college, which is something that we did only decades ago, there becomes a problem. And the only thing that has changed is that Black and brown Americans, non-white, non-wealthy Americans are now trying to attain the same education that mostly white men did several decades ago.
Marc, your response? He has a point. Wars are expensive.
I'm with you on taxing the rich. We need to do that to reduce our deficit to finance other programs. But the idea that this has already been paid for is like saying that if the bank cancels your mortgage, well, they've already given you the loan. That doesn't make sense. I also think there's a misunderstanding here about who has most of the debt. It's not mostly kids with undergraduate education of any race. In fact, it is mostly kids with graduate education, doctors and lawyers, who are doing quite well. About 10% of people own 50% of the debt. And that's, again, mostly people with advanced degrees that have very high incomes.
But how about, the argument that the cost for families are at a record high? Is now really the time to move this forward? The country's still dealing with the fallout from COVID. There's a wealth and race gap in this country, and it discourages young people from getting an education. I have talked to a lot of young people who say, I don't want to graduate with all this debt, so I'm just going to go do something else instead.
Well, look, we're talking about canceling debt that people that already went to school, not about making college more affordable, which is what we should be talking about. The debt pause alone, just for 1 year, costs twice as much as the Pell Grants program. We're spending twice as much forgiving debt, mainly for doctors and lawyers and MBAs, than we are on actually supporting the education of low and middle income students through the Pell Grants program.
Fair enough. And Braxton, to you, workers do have the upper hand right now when it comes to employment opportunities, especially educated ones. We've done a lot of reporting on this. Is this not a good time to expect them to start paying back the loans that they agreed to pay back?
There couldn't be a worse time to resume student debt payments. Payments have been paused for 2 years. Notice no one's taxes have gone up. The economy has largely been doing fine. And, to the previous point, I actually am of the school of thought that our public defenders, or the people who have been saving our lives, nurses and doctors over the past couple of years from COVID, those are folks that we actually don't want to saddle with a $1.8 trillion worth of debt. So we really get into a dangerous sort of mantra when we are picking and choosing who's worthy and not worthy of student debt cancellation, who should have to pay for college and not. We should actually mimic what we used to do in the US and what other countries do today, which is move towards free college, and canceling student debt puts us on the pathway to do that.
Well, it sounds like you two are not that far off in that realm. But Marc, before we go, I want to give you the final word.
Look, I'm all for making education more affordable. That's not what this would do. Again, this would give benefit to very wealthy people. We already have income-based repayment programs. We should improve those. The idea that we should spend $1.6 trillion to forgive everyone's debt, it frankly doesn't make any sense.
All right, fair enough. Both of you, I appreciate you being here tonight and sharing your viewpoint on this issue that a lot of Americans are talking about. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.